We begin with a growing wildfire burning along the Grand Canyon's north rim. The Dragon Bravo fire is now the largest wildfire in the U.S. mainland. Crews are bracing for worsening weather today as they work through bone-dry conditions, heavy winds, and extreme heat, trying to get the fire under control. The fire is just 11% contained. The fire was sparked by lightning on July 4th and has now scorched nearly 180 square miles of land. That's about 3 times the size of Washington, D.C. Experts say the fire is intensifying enough to create its own weather, in fact. This time-lapse video shows a fire cloud forming in the sky, which tend to form over raging wildfires and volcanic eruptions. Joining us right now to discuss is Lisa Jennings, a firefighter and fire information officer with the Southwestern Incident Management Team, and she's also joined by her interpreter. Lisa, great to see you. So you're bracing for more critical fire weather today after a more humid day on Friday. What is the latest there?
Yesterday, we had a great window of opportunity, and it was really the first good weather day we've had in almost 2 weeks. We keep saying even a good weather day on this fire would be a bad weather day on any other fire. But what it did is it allowed our firefighters to essentially go on the offense, get close in on the fire, and try to increase containment on this fire that's been incredibly hard to contain.
Wow, I mean, these pictures are extraordinary. You've talked about fire clouds being spotted over the Dragon Bravo fire, which can eventually generate lightning, wind gusts, and sometimes even produce tornadoes. Tell us more about this threat, how prevalent it has become during the battling of this fire.
Yeah, so that red cloud that you see on that clip, that the technical term is a pyrocumulus cloud, and that's just as you said, it is a fire cloud. So that superheated moisture that's released when a fire is burning fast and hot through vegetation, as that rises up off the fire, it forms this cloud. That cloud is over 24,000 feet in the air, which for a normal cloud, that's about the height that clouds are at. But if you think this cloud originates on the ground, so an immensely high smoke column, what happens when it gets that high and forms into that fire cloud is then it begins pulling additional smoke and fuels into it, so it gets an updraft wind, and if it can get high enough, that wind can become a downdraft and spread fire out in all directions. That's what we really watch for. Our number one objective is firefighter safety. So when those fire clouds form, that's when we have to pull back and go on the defense.
I mean, that's unbelievably dangerous, on top of a job that is already dangerous. So the latest update, showing that the fire is just 11% contained. The fire was at 26% containment at the end of last week, but then dry heat, gusty conditions, erased much of the progress from the last few days. So is there anything that can be done to combat kind of this record dryness? Does it change the way in which, you try to attack this blaze?
Yeah, fire spread has been really tough to combat. When a fire grows, there are 3 things that go into it. The first is the weather, and that's the piece that's been really against us. We've had historically dry conditions for almost 10 days now, except that small window we had yesterday. The second piece is the terrain here at the Grand Canyon. So you can see the canyon behind us. It's beautiful to look at, but imagine going in there and trying to fight a fire. The Grand Canyon and the canyons that come off of it, they call those kind of finger canyons coming off the main one. They create their own wind tunnels, and that is very hard to fight. And then the third piece is the fuel it's burning through. You think of a campfire, right? You put the wood on the campfire, that is the fuel. In a forest fire, that fuel is live trees, and it is very thick out there. And that is causing this fire to grow quickly on these hot days and send out burning embers a mile ahead in some conditions. All those 3 things make this extreme fire behavior something that many folks have never seen before. And so we're having to readjust our strategies to essentially drive the fire into areas where that fuel, right, those forest types are a little bit smaller and easier to control. And that strategy has been effective.
So I wonder too, Lisa, I mean, how are firefighters, how are these teams traversing? I mean, you just described this is very rugged terrain. This is difficult. You're talking about the fingers, throughout the Grand Canyon. I think when tourists think about the Grand Canyon, they think about, okay, mules, helicopters, driving to certain places. But now you're talking about battling a blaze there on the northern rim. So how are firefighters getting to those, aggressive, fire areas?
One of the critical areas we're working right now is called Crystal Canyon, and it's been giving us trouble for days because there's a cliff in between where we can access and where the fire is burning lower down. So our only option in those areas is to use helicopters to drop water in, because there is no way you can get a person, a firefighter, down to combat that blaze. And so we have a team of aircraft supporting this incident, a dozen aircraft, mostly helicopters assigned, and then we'll bring in those big air tankers that you see on fires with the red fire retardant to drop in and further slow the blaze in that area. But it's a slow process, and what it does is it helps contain that blaze until we can get the weather to come in and do some more aggressive work on the edges.
Oh, incredible. I mean, all the best to you and all your teams, your interpreter there, your crews out there on the ground. I mean, this is very difficult. And we wish you the best and continued safety. Thank you so much, Lisa Jennings.
Thank you.